Correct.
When the profits come in,
if there's money, you're going to have a problem.
And this is the issue. And I'm glad City has said it. I was dealing with somebody, and I don't want us to deviate from the topic of the day.
Right.
I was talking to 3 people, unknown to each other. They all ran restaurants. City, if I tell you the testimonies, they say you put up a business, and the first thing that you have to institute is methodologies and systems of workers not stealing from you. Because the minute they check in, they want to know, hapa ni nini? Businesses, you open a business, somebody coming in, you've employed somebody who had no job. The first thing they land is asking, so hapa maneno namna gani? Look at what we did to Uchumi Supermarket.
Gabriel, what you're saying is absolutely true. I had a friend, as in he passed away, who was a restaurateur, and it's something he had trained in. And his business was taking over restaurant business that had failed. And I know of 2 that he right-sized and they were working. And I asked him, what are you doing that these people want to doing?
Yes.
He said, I just block the leakages.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
Really. Said, that's it. I'm not introducing something new. I just make sure I minimize the theft.
Yeah.
That is all I do.
And that is where I was going, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Do we have that level of trust in government? Of course not. Do we have that level of trust in our public officers? Of course not.
Right.
And it's very obvious because of the high levels of corruption we have in this country.
And you see,
actually, we do have trust. It's just that it's fractured.
Yeah.
If we didn't have trust, people would not go to public hospitals.
Correct.
All right?
Yeah.
We go, we complain, but we
still go.
Yes.
Because we do not have a choice.
No, we do have choices.
Majority of Kenyans don't.
These hospitals that we claim don't also work, if they totally didn't work, nobody would go.
It's true.
So they do work.
Yeah.
They do have problems. And many of these problems are created by human beings.
Right.
But there's a point I'm getting to here. One of the things about Linda Mama that isn't spoken of was that it was part of that pilot scheme for UHC to see how best you could manage the cases of a vulnerable group that critically needed this critical care.
Correct.
Okay? Now, the pilot, unfortunately, from what we are hearing, was already interfered with. But, Gabriel, if I may ask,
yes,
of all the people whose debts from this 33 billion,
yes,
surely not all of it was fraudulent.
Yes.
Has the government taken that into consideration and paid people whose claims are genuine? Because
correct. And you saw that was done. You see, and many people, I think when NHIF, when SHA now came to fruition, and by the way, you know, it's near 1 year anniversary of SHA. When it came to fruition, you remember there was I think 5 or 8 billion of bills that were being. There was a team that was looking into the bills, and let me tell you, the ones that passed scrutiny were actually paid. Yeah, but the rest, honestly, City, it was a dirty job. Of nothing pure. It was just pure conmanship. Yeah?
Then why don't we prosecute these people? Because
and in fact, now that's what we are expecting.
Because now, if somebody clearly was involved in fraud, then that person should be prosecuted.
Yes, and by the way, CT, I'm liking the conversation. I'm liking some of the words that you're putting out across, because when this beautiful scheme started, it was targeted to a specific group, the vulnerable. And by the way, this is what society is. A good society always pays attention to the most vulnerable. And so that's why you had the president saying it was a grand idea, it was a good idea. But now we've gotten to a place where now we are discussing real universal health care. Now we have so many things that have come to play that it's no longer an issue of this particular group or that particular group. All of us need to ensure that we have quality services. That the same quality service you get at a public hospital is the same service that you can expect in a private hospital. Yeah, that's why that's how the first world operated. I've been there, I can tell you. You go to this clinic and you're told, by the way, do you know that's a private clinic? I'm like, I didn't understand. I didn't get, I didn't feel it, because all hospitals, the services that you're getting are really nearly equal. And I think to realize this dream of universal healthcare, that is where I think the president wants to take us. And that's why you keep hearing him insist that we can no longer live in mediocrity. People are getting tired of living average. And that's why our bar must be set to such a point that when service is guaranteed in Nairobi, it is the same service guaranteed in Mandera, in Wajir, and in places where back in the day, tulikuwa tunasema it is a forgotten place.
Let me ask you something, Gabriel. Dr. Brian, the gentleman who was here before you,
Sure.
He presented like a certain case, and he said, for example, there's some 33 billion somewhere owed to hospitals, both public and private. And he mentioned a situation, and he said that, for instance, former CS Nakumicha, when she was CS for Health, is the one who actually said there's this amount of money that we owe these people, or these hospitals. But now, with the new administration in the ministry, is now saying that some of this is fraudulent and we are not going to pay. So the same government says one thing, then it comes out and says that another thing. And these are some of the things that are actually plaguing SHA. So what are we saying? Is there confusion?
No,
is there miscalculation?
Let me take you back. Let me take you back. And this, I was reading the Auditor General report of 2022, and I've mentioned something there, which I think I need to bring it back to the fore.
Right.
So when Linda Mama was moved from Minister of Health and now being managed at NHIF. I've given you an example where you had private insurance and you deliver in a high-end private hospital, and your insurance paid the entire bill. Your insurance was paying the entire bill. But guess what that hospital was doing? It was still, the facility would still go and claim for Linda Mama. So that's why, take that good example. Now, fashion that to the part of the 33 billion legacy NHIF bill that Daktari has talked about, which is true, 33 billion. A fraction of that, and a good fraction, nearly 5, heading to 6 billion of that bill had the intricacies of Linda Mama. So any self-respecting person, and this is what has happened, would verify these bills, right? And that is what has happened. So in that verification process, you realize, wow, the long con. So what do you do in such an event? You just cannot pay. You cannot pay for fraudulent activities. That should be understood. But so it does not matter. It does not really matter.
Is all of it fraudulent? I mean, look, we know some of it.
Yes.
The sum total of that sum, I am not certain of myself. Let me ask a question I want to ask. It's this, if we have a system that seems to be broken, it is not extinguished, just broken, which means it can be repaired. I'm going to draw a parallel with something that the Ministry of Education did in 2016. They told us that they had discovered 1,000 fake schools. Okay? They never mentioned the schools.
Or even the ghost
This is not
students.
2016, eh?
Yes. Now, if you know that there were 1,000 schools, for the number, the figure 1,000 to be there, you must know the schools. Otherwise, what are you counting? Okay?
Yes.
Now, we are still listening to that same story of ghost schools. Okay? Now, so it begs the question. If a similar scenario with regards to claims that were made, and it is being said these claims were fraudulent, specifically what is being done to ensure that those who perpetrate, for you to realize it's a fraud, it means there's a pattern. And that pattern is probably going to follow SHA as well. Okay? Now, I am aware of the system that SHA has, and how it is that they have attempted to weed this out.
Yes.
Now, my question, Gabriel.
Yes.
What are we going to do with those who, it is being said, perpetrated these frauds? That's number one. Number two, how sure are we that the system we have in SHA will be safeguarded from being interfered with by the people who perpetrated those problems? Because they haven't gone away. It's not the person, it's the thinking.
Excellent.
You may jail one person, but that thinking is a Kenyan thinking.
See, CT, that's an amazing question. And as far as the verification process go, I can guarantee you, obviously, there has been bills that have been found to be quite in order, and I believe wholeheartedly that will be paid. In fact, I remember at one point, it's not only the cabinet secretary who promised, it's the president who said, and it's not only in the healthcare sector, but there are other areas where, you remember there was a committee that was set up to look in those bills, and it's ongoing. So bills that have been verified, I know for sure they will be paid. Having said that, the issue that you've said about fraud, we just saw it the other day. People trying to infiltrate the SHA system. And I'm glad that you've said it again, CT. It is a mindset. Where I was getting my tunes, that
your cheese
pathway has been blocked. What do I do? Yeah? And that's why you saw some hospitals are going to actually lose their licenses. And that is why we really, even as government, we really need for there to be collaboration, great collaboration between KMPDC, even the patients themselves, the hospital owners. Because CT, if you have a hospital, really, you've invested in a hospital, you have a group of people who've decided, let's invest in healthcare, and your people who you've employed are not doing right by the culture that you've inculcated in that hospital, you need to report them. Yeah. So we are calling, and we have been doing it, for us to have what you'd call a tripartite kind of way of working, so that we can safeguard this new system. Trust me, you have people who are looking in, and some even who are within the institutions of government, who want to see where can we get a kamwanya somewhere with you in. So we have this notion, and I'm glad again we are talking about being a Kenyan thing. We have this notion that if it's public, kama ni mali ya umma, it's up for misuse. And that is a culture that we need to walk away. How can we walk away from that culture? Is when people are punished, and punished severely. So comes in the issue of the investigative arm, comes in the issue of the judiciary. People are found culpable, wacha watu wafungwe. Because, CT, me and you, we've been here. In the US, people who've messed up with the health system, they take millions, move back home. They are followed everywhere.
Extradited.
Because pesa ya umma, taxpayers' money.
In places like China, they kill you.
Let me tell you, it is something you should not joke about or joke around with. And this is now where we have a difference when it comes to our thought processes. Because the US, we believe mali ya serikali, mali ya umma is for misuse. So the biggest punishment, I believe, should be carried with the people who mess up with taxpayers' money. Because that taxpayer ni mama mboga, that taxpayer ni mtu wa boda boda. These are people who are sacrificing, to
Gabriel,
pay their fair share of taxes.
This is where your office comes in. It's a conversation I never tire of having. And this is what I mean. If you carry the public along with the thought process that you have, in getting them to understand the goals that the government has, and it's not said once, it's repeated, and this is not the president's job either.
Yes. Correct.
It's not.
Yes.
If the president gives an overview, the nuts and bolts of it, then your department comes in, and the relevant or the requisite ministry and their people come in. Because all these places have communication people.
Yes.
Why have I taken this particular approach to it?
Yes.
A lot of the complaints that one hears with regards to SHA, with regards to police recruitment, with regards to the recruitment of teachers.
Yes.
A lot of the complaints has to do with inadequate information that people have, or information that has been mingled up with all manner of hearsay,
Disinformation, correct,
and so forth.
Yeah.
Now, the people who have the duty, the burden of duty to give a clear path is the government.
That's true.
And not once. You see,
Yes.
if it is said once,
Yes.
again, I'm going to actually practice what I am saying. Let's take the example of COVID and Mutahi Kagwe and the ministry headed. We were informed every single day.
Yeah.
You cannot pretend you didn't hear it. Even if you didn't want to hear it today, you're going to hear it tomorrow. If you don't hear it tomorrow, you'll hear it the day after. You will hear it. When we were changing our 1,000 shilling fiduciary issue, that note, my friends, the central bank informed you until you got tired of being told. You have 1 month, you have 1 week, you have 1 day. What I'm saying is, critical issues like issues of health cannot be spoken of and then somebody is directed to a link. That won't work.
I agree.
Because very few people have the time or the capacity, the interest to even read those documents.
And CT, what we are really trying to do, and I take your point quite positively, is yes, we are going to regurgitate all these things that you've said, and we are really trying. We are really doing our best. You've seen.
Give me an example of how you're trying, Gabriel.
You've had even the president. As back as yesterday.
Don't quote the president.
Myself, okay.
We've removed the president from this equation.
CS. But you see, he's actually the vanguard of
he
this
has
program.
Spoken, we have heard.
Yeah.
But he doesn't give all the details. He's telling you this is what we are planning. Now, within that statement, there are very many things that need to be done, and that's where the problem arises, because people don't know.
Yes, we've had the cabinet secretary who's been up to it. We've had PSS who are up to it. We've had now the new CEO of SHA, Dr. Mwangangi, they are doing up to it. I mean, we've had people like Akina Dr. Amoth. We have many voices, but still, CT, we cannot downplay the noise and the disinformation and the misinformation that is being propelled by the naysayers and the cartels and the conmen who are into this system. They are doing a lot of legwork, and this one we have to agree.
You're proving my point exactly.
Yes. So we know
exist.
Yes, we know the people we are fighting with, CT, and they are coming. They are quite loaded. They are buying headlines. They are pushing. They are pushing. But let me tell you, Buvi.
Yeah,
these are people who are fighting. Because here to the nail, they are fighting.
But Gabriel,
for survivability, for survival.
Make me understand how the government can be defeated by a cartel.
You can't be defeated. Corruption fights and fights back badly.
Yeah.
It fights and fights back badly. So when you have many politicians shouting, politicians, somebody who is in parliament, as a matter of fact, we voted for them to go to parliament and give solutions to the people. They go pick a microphone and say, SHA is not working. Yet they know very well people in their constituents are going to hospitals and they are getting quality services. What would you call that? Yeah? The issue which I feel sometimes we do not really credit is the voices that are now coming out. Real testimony. Nobody paid. They are not paid by government. They are not paid by politicians. This is somebody who has gone and walked into a level 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever hospital. And they are coming out and they are saying, guys, listen, I walked into this hospital. I was treated. My bill came to 240. I walked without paying anything. These voices are being drowned by politicians and conmen. Yeah? Who would rather say SHA is not working than allow for people with real testimonies to speak. And let me tell you, as long as this manifesto is being talked about and being pushed, it's just a matter of time. Movie, look at where we are. 26 million people have registered. It's not a mean feat. It's people believing that they can have a better tomorrow as far as health goes. Number two, today, a testimony that my aunt will call me and tell me, oh, my son, guess what? The CHPs were here. And my auntie will tell me about his blood sugar. And she will tell me about her pressure. And she'll tell me, oh, today it looked good. And these are conversations that probably back in the day we couldn't have. Because, first of all, I'm feeling bad. My son, send me something. I want to go to hospital. That conversation is long gone.
No, it isn't long gone.
Yeah?
Gabriel.
Wait. No, I'm telling you about me.
Yes.
And my people.
Yes.
And I feel that is a step in the right direction, City. We may not reach everybody.
Yeah.
But guess what? There is something happening on the ground.
Dr. Brian Lishenga, again, the doctor who was here, he was talking about this co-costing, co-payment, co-something.
Copay. Yes.
Yeah. And when the president says, for example, you go to hospital, you'll be sorted. Yeah. Gabriel comes to Radio Generation and says the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's working. Go, do this. Then you walk into that public institution. Well, umeenda kutibiwa, then you're told, okay, so your healthcare will cost X amount of money. Yet you thought, because you saw the president on TV say, enda utibiwe.
Yes.
Now kuna malipo unalipa, and by the there's some 1,700 needed here.
Let me first of all tell you something, and I think this is where many people are getting it right when you go to hospital. There's a primary health service, primary healthcare. Hiyo ndio unaingia kwa public hospitals, hiyo ni bure. You walk in, you're treated, you go. Do you know, CT, that nearly, and I hope I'm right on this data, nearly 60 to 70% of our health problems are solved at the primary care level. Did you know
As
that?
it should be.
Yeah. And this is where the huge burden usually is. Now, that does not mean necessarily, even if it's free, that you do not make your contributions. Right? It does not mean that you do not register. You put in your family, you go do your means testing, and you're told, Mbuvi, if you're not salaried, mtu
Mkono.
Hizi biashara zingine, informal, you're told your annual contribution should be 3,600. And you come and say, my Moduma Gabriel, me, I can't afford this money. And then we call you and tell you, by the way, there is Lipa Pole Pole. Pole Pole, and this is, today I know people who are into that program of Lipa Pole Pole. Some who are paid even as low as 10 shillings. But guess what? They have the spirit of contribution. All right? We must understand the bigger picture behind it, so that when you go now to the major services that would require surgery, that would require extensive treatment, you find that your copay is something affordable. That is how healthcare works. That's how healthcare works. And I have seen, by the way, many cases today, including what our CEO was telling me. Somebody came from Northeastern, and the copay that they had, in fact, they thought it was a joke, because 300,000 was paid, and they only parted with 13,000 shillings. Now, Buvi, think about this. If it was 5 years ago, you were hit with a bill of 300,000. You started calling people around.
You first of all collapse.
Yes, uko hospital.
When you wake up, you start calling.
Yes.
When you wake up, you start calling. You open a WhatsApp group. You start sending messages to your relatives, probably who are abroad, those that are working. And it's a condition probably that will need future treatment. You remember CT, watu walikuwa wanachoka wanaanza kujitoa kwa group because they changia you once.
Unawekwa unatoka.
Unawekwa unatoka. They changia you once, anasema Mbuvi na yeye bana sasa. Mbuvi, these are true testimonies. These are true cases. And we cannot my two good gentlemen, we cannot reduce the capacity of SHA to talking about a copay, of 2,000 or 13,000 when SHA has paid for you nearly 500,000. Where I had insurance, even my private insurance, every time you go to hospital for whatever reason, there was still a copay. And I'm paying high top dollars in my insurance. Okay? So we need to understand the intricacies of the universal healthcare. But back to something that you said, which is good that we talk about. I was telling you that two documents I sat down with were the auditor report of 2022, and I took another document, a comparative document of our manifesto, where we believed our universal healthcare should not leave anybody behind. Same way we believed in matters of education. Same way we believed in 100% transition. The issue here was all of us must get the same. All of us must be equalized in a way. And so I started looking, City. The question that somebody asked me, and this is I know you will like because this is what City likes hearing. So what does SHA offer? What does SHA offer? The examples of Linda Mama and Linda Jamii. What? And we have done our best really to bring that story forward. So I look at that report upon registration of SHA. A mother, you get 6 antenatal clinic, entire antenatal profile and postnatal care, up to 6 visits.
Yes.
My friend, if that's not short of a miracle, you tell me what is. Okay. For registration, obviously, you require your national ID number, or passport. But now, listen to this one. Do we have all that? Or did we have that when we were capturing that? We realized it? No. So what happened? We created our extreme called temporary ID. Do you know where the temporary ID came?
No.
Good. So the temporary ID came to cover teen mothers. Yeah.
Okay.
The reason was teen mothers hawana kitambulisho. And we were able to put them in the system. So ask your question, where were they going prior? Where are they going prior to Linda Jamii? So temporary EID targeted moms who appears at the antenatal clinic. Amekuja na nguo na shuka ile tu yake. Amejifunga. Yeah? She has nothing else. No antenatal book. Hana pesa. Unamregister hapo. And they get that unique ID.
So this temporal ID, they get it at the health center?
Yes, immediately. Amekuja hana. Huyu mtu hajafikisha
18.
Yeah. Probably kitu anayo hata probably birth certificate ana, but amefika. That alone, that immediately they've gotten you at the ANC level. Na umeanza kupatiwa huduma. That in itself became a game changer. And I know probably someday we will have this conversation about teen pregnancies. Not us, but I feel the society is time to take up this conversation. And then from there, CT, you hear somebody holding a microphone in a political rally shouting, ati Linda Jamii kitu gani?
Yes, the reason why they do that, Gabriel, is because what you're doing here is not done beyond here. What are the key message pillars that the government has, for instance, when they were rolling out SHA?
Yes.
You are a communication expert and you know what I'm talking about.
Correct.
When I talk about key message pillars.
Yes.
You want to make sure, beyond anything else, when you're introducing something new, that you simplify the complexity of it.
Yes. Yes.
The issues that come around, for instance, somebody has a problem and it's something that requires just primary health care.
Yes.
They go to a level 5.
Yes.
Is there a help desk where someone tells you,
Hey,
no,
by the way,
hapa. Sisi hapa. What you do?
Yes.
So unajua pale.
Yes.
Nenda pale.
There is.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm giving an example.
Yeah.
Is it communicated effectively? So that you know that when you go to a hospital
Yes.
and you're looking for care, don't just queue.
Yes.
Go to that place, imeandikwa help desk.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that you can be directed as to where it is. When you go to a bank, many banks have this gadget they have there where you're supposed to determine what it is.
The self-help.
Yeah, self-help.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Unataka kulipa deni, okay. Inquiry.
Withdrawing money.
Yes, kadi yako imepotea.
You know, I told you I'm a very good story, guys. Like at the airport.
Yes.
Where you go, there is the local arrivals and the international arrivals. You know, some have actually even color-coded it in a way. Wale watu wanakuja hapa ni wale watu wanaenda international flights, these are local flights. Yeah. So I think the direction we are heading is to really ensure, and I think we've done a great job.
No, you haven't.
No. It's
You
to
haven't.
Nakwambia, I'm telling you.
Gabriel,
I'm
you haven't.
telling you. No.
Gabriel.
Sidi, wacha amalize sentence
Hapana.
yake. Ndio mtuanishe vizuri.
Hapana.
Amalize ndio mtuanishe
Gabriel
vizuri.
is a government spokesman.
What are you saying?
And I
I'm
expect him
spinning.
to speak well. No, you haven't spun yet.
Yes, okay, good.
You haven't spun yet.
Yes,
and I'm
okay.
preventing you from spinning. The point I'm trying to make it,
Yeah.
you have started. For it to be as effective as you want, those pillars must be clear. So that when
Yes.
you're communicating,
Yes.
whether they're talking about the consistency,
Yes.
okay, whether they're talking about the empathy and reliability that is
Yes.
there, so that all these things are communicated repeatedly and consistently.
Correct.
You know, you see,
Yes.
the problem is you have details that we don't have.
Yes.
There are things you know that we do not know.
Yes.
So for you, Andre, what are these people talking about?
Yeah.
Most people will go by what is peddled,
Yes.
and the negative narrative tends to appeal to very many
Yes,
people.
yes.
I'm simply trying to say this.
Right.
The communication about these things
Yes.
have been woefully inadequate.
Yes.
I myself know firsthand people who have benefited from this system. So whenever people were telling me, I was wondering, what are you talking
Correct.
about? Because there are people I know.
Right.
And there were 130,000 was paid yote.
Yes.
Another 150 was paid.
Yeah.
It's not as though they went and said I'm CT's relative.
Yes.
No.
Waliingia hospitali.
Well,
Na wakatibiwa.
yes,
Yeah.
and all that
Yeah.
was required was I paid for the
Yeah.
for the card, whatever it was
Yes.
required.
Yes.
But beyond that,
Yes.
now we have testimonies,
Right.
and there are many.
Right.
In social media, I even find somebody saying, I was told this thing doesn't work.
Yeah.
I went and it actually works. I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to say to what I hear. The burden of communicating these things consistently
Yes.
is actually otherwise the negative narratives will hold sway.
I
And that's
agree.
what people will believe.
I CT, I can both of us, I think both of us are good communicators, and there's one thing we cannot downplay is the power of repetition. And
Yes.
and this one we have to keep. We have to be. I mean, we have to up our ante. And one thing I'm liking, CT, when we started, we formulated a discussion where I remember we used to go and explain to people, and I've done this. I've really done many town halls to try and assist people to know where you start in matters of health. Anzia to your local, your local dispensary, your local hospital,
Right.
the one that's within you. From there, they will direct. Emergency services, obviously, utakutata wengine wame tafuta ambulance. Nakwambia, no, this need to be referred directly where Kenyatta.
Gabriel,
And you're given.
Do you use opinion shapers and leaders within communities to help pass on this message?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yeah, totally. Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, we do. And even by the way, and this is my bone of contention. Because we've nearly, and I don't want to say we've bent over backwards, because at times I feel we've really been pushed back to the wall.
Yes.
faith-based organizations that really give very good and quality health services. There was a time they came out with guns blazing. We have a problem. You're not getting paid, and all of that was sorted out. And now they became our biggest evangelists, because you see that faith-based clinic, that one Pale, it deals with so many issues, and we are glad that they are there. We are glad that those services are being given, and we really want them to continue giving that service. I know a place, by the way, this may shock you, in Kariobangi area, the amount of traffic that comes to that facility, and it's run by the Catholics, huge. And now they've become our biggest evangelists when it comes to saying, by the way, this thing is really changing the way healthcare was being given. Yes, sometimes we may not agree on how quick the claims are
processed.
are processed. But at the very least, it is working better than what was there before. This is a testimony that I've been on the ground.
The problem is there are those who claim that the NHF system worked better. Now that, yes, it's a narrative that you hear repeated over and over. There are those who even use it as a campaign tool.
Correct.
And they say, we will go back to NHIF.
Can you imagine? Can you
can I imagine? I've heard it.
And I have heard it the same too. I've heard the same. Somebody saying, we will revert back to... And I'm like, wait a minute. You can be forgiven if you didn't know. But this is somebody who was at one point sat when this thing was being structured. Part and parcel of this. At one point, he was the mouthpiece of it. But now, because you want to do a political punch, you want to use SHA as a punchline, or NHIF as a punchline, towards popularity.
Yes.
And I find that to be obnoxious.
It's because the government has left themselves vulnerable to attack.
I don't think it's vulnerable. What you're telling people is you would rather a service that was just dealing with people who had a payslip. And 7-9 million, that's probably what it could handle. In fact, it was around 7. What would you do then? What were you doing then with the rest of the population? And see, this is where we all need to come in with our guns blazing. So we go back to WhatsApp groups of Changisha, Nipe, Fanya. We go back to people wanazuiliwa kwa hospitali. Bodies zinashikwa.
Yeah, but those are still happening even now.
Yeah.
But the law says it's illegal. Actually.
It is illegal, exactly. It is illegal. And that's why I'm telling you, if that would happen, there is a number.
But
there
Gabriel,
is a number.
if we were to do a survey today,
yes.
And be honest about this,
Yes.
do you think Kenyans, if we allowed all 50 million of us to vote and say, look, do we maintain and continue with this system of SHA or revert to NHIF? Unadhani hiyo vote itaendaje?
I think from where I'm seated, many will vote for SHA. Mostly the people who have gotten this service. Even today, if you are to do Linda Mama and Linda Jamii.
Yeah.
I mean, don't even go far. I almost said get a genuine doctor. No, get a genuine doctor.
Say it, get a doctor.
Get a doctor who's lived in both. No holding back. Just ask them. Which one have they seen being more supportive?
Akia mama Gabriel, tukienda direction daktari watasema turudi NHIF.
Hapana, wengi na sitaki kusema unajua pia kulikuwa na watu wengi, unajua pia kulikuwa na madaktari wengi wakwa, you know. I don't want us to go to a weaker system because you benefited out of it. No, I want us to go to a system that's benefiting the mwananchi. Here we are talking about two different things. I don't want us to go talk of a system that was benefiting you and your business more.
Gabriel, NHIF existed in a time when we did not have the proliferation of communication as we do now.
Correct.
So, yet the government response seems to be tuned in to the NHIF days. Instead of understanding that someone does not need a podium to speak. All they need is a phone, and they'll cause phenomenal damage.
Yes.
If a negative narrative is what people hear the most, when you speak the truth, nobody's going to hear you.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
Gentlemen, we have come to the end of the show. Gabriel,
lakini umeshika maneno yangu. So comparative, any person coming to tell you about me and Sha, there's a raft. Kwanzia Sha covers pre-terms and post-terms, babies. Hata wale wako na complications.
Gabriel, what I want to do is invite you.
Yes.
Again.
Yes, we must.
Come back here.
Yes.
Hata ukitaka kuja na Madam CEO wa Sha, Dr. Mwangangi.
Daktari umesikia? We're inviting you here.
Then we also have another doctor here.
Yes.
Perhaps someone from Rufa or any other organization that represents Daktaris. So we can get because every time we have all of you coming single, everyone is making their own case.
Yes.
And they're very valid.
But no. But sometimes that's what's required. That's what's required because the last thing CT we also want is to be in an environment where it's a shouting match. Best is what aseme yake, uongo yake. Yo mingi.
You know when you start on that note, Gabriel, you know they will say, "Wacha Gabriel pia kuja."
But you see, mine are based on facts. Me yangu nasema facts.
Same thing that they are also based on facts.
You see, this thing of fraudulent activities and the perpetrators of it, we've always agreed as government, and we know for sure. They're always fighting back. They're always looking for a place. Again, to start that whirlwind of tutakulia wapi. You see that notion of tutakulia wapi. We must become people centered when it comes to matters healthcare. The one thing we cannot joke around with is the health of a nation. And that's why, to me, I think politicians who are really watering down this push for universal healthcare, they need to come up with something so tangible that Mwananchi can be grateful for. And I can guarantee you they don't.
Why should they, when criticizing you is easier?
Yes. I guarantee you they don't.
Citi said something earlier on that, and this is very unfortunate. Me, when I sit with you folks, and when I say folks, I mean Gava folks. Like everything is good. It's awesome. Ideas, policies. Like you've left yourself open for that barrage of bullets and
no. But the other things, as it is said, we have to be honest with. Back in the day when we had so many of these programs, the proliferation of what you're saying of the communication and the media, I mean, was tiny kidogo. Somebody was comparing, and I can say this without fear of contradiction. Someone was comparing how is that one of Mutua, and I was telling them, listen. There was no internet back in the day. Hakuna mtu alikuwa anakuflip vidole. No. You took the center stage. You gave your press. And unaenda. Nobody took over to the internet to abuse you and say something contradictory. But now, even as we are live on TV, kuna mtu yuko kwa simu creating their own content ya kukuchapa. To again go contrary to what you're saying. And guess what, CT? They have followers who believe them.
Gabriel, what I'll offer you, and especially on the People's Breakfast, when you see this drama happening, when you see someone doing something uko alafu unajua tu hii ni uongo nasema, call in. Call it. Me, I'll give you the airtime.
In fact, that's what I'll now be doing. I actually want to set. I'm going to set up a kikundi. That's what they'll be doing.
Just call in.
Call in.
Call in.
Wait.
I want to respond to what
because let me tell you, movie. Me, I've had things. Yani paka na shanga. What has that person said? And you see, it can be understood. You see, I can understand. I can understand somebody who doesn't have the knowledge. I can honestly move it. It can be understood even if we are not going to condone it. But somebody who has walked into facilities, who knows exactly, that can never be condoned. In fact, that person cannot be forgiven.
There's a comment here coming from YouTube. Tell Gabriel, this is now Robert, and I did Robert times 2, Robert. Tell Gabriel, yes, there are testimonies that are very successful. However, SHA should have a comprehensive review. Yeah. Majority of the population are in problems. That is Robert.
No, Robert, I take your sentiment and I take it positively. We can continue looking into it, and let me tell you, there's no system in the world that I know.
Okay.
Whose policies are written on stone. And I do not believe, actually, City, that will ever come to a point and say, by the way, perfect system.
Yeah.
It will never happen. It will continue going through advancement. It will continue going through change. It will continue. But right now, it's in a state of usefulness. It is a system that's working for millions of Kenyans.
Another
so
one
up until such a time when we can say, okay, as we muru, hii work to change hii fanyi, and by the way, that is how societies are built. They are not built on perfection.
Nyaboke,
no, they are built on efficiency.
Nyaboke anasema hivi, why can't the government just go to the ground and see what to improve on instead of noise? A majority can't be wrong.
We are always on the ground. This is not go ground. Hata ile information tunapatiwa kutoka CHPs wetu, we are implementing it. And that's why I'm telling you, I don't think we'll have a system that will work 110% and we say this is a perfect system. No, we are going to be a country that goes on improvements. Guess what? Leo hii tumefanya barabara ya Southern Bypass. 3 years from now, and we've clapped our hands. Oh, that is the most amazing road eastern of Sahara. But yet, for 3 years, we are going back there to do what? To zip at the potholes.
Okay.
Why? Because it is going to be subjected to a progressive advance.
Gabriel, I have stolen 7 minutes for you. So, thank you so much. This is where we come to a close, but thank you so much. Like I said, I invite you back here again. Na kama pia CEO Dr. Mwangangi anaweza fika, please kindly. Tafadhali, tulete.
CEO kama unanisikiza hii leo, please. Movie and CT.
Unaongelea juu ya SHA, she's definitely listening.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
All right. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
The sound is fine, pump it up, turn it high, all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. 2 Kenyan activists visiting Uganda to support opposition leader Bobi Wine have reportedly been detained in Kampala. Free Kenya Movement National Chairman Bob Njagi and Secretary General Nicholas Oyo were apprehended on Wednesday afternoon at Starbucks filling station in Kireka, according to the movement. National Coordinator Felix Wambua confirmed the incident, urging supporters to stay calm as they engage with Wine's National Unity Platform leadership to ascertain the whereabouts and conditions of the detained officials. At least 2 arson attacks within a week have left residents of Mwangaza village on the outskirts of Wabera ward in Isiolo County fearing rising insecurity. Locals suspect land grabbers are behind the incidents and are urging the government to fast-track long-standing land cases and the issuance of title deeds. Elders and affected families are appealing to police to step in and prevent further destruction of property.
Akatuteka nyara, akatutoa nje, tukakalishwa chini hapa nje na tukaambiwa tunyamaze. Mmoja alienda pale kwa kona akapiga kiberiti, akarushia nyumba mafuta na ikaanza kuwaka moto ambaye tulikuwa tunaona.
Kuchomea watu wengine nyumba ama kuchukua sheria mkononi. Kama uko na issue na mtu na serikali iko, unastahili kuingia kwa serikali ama kuenda pale kotini.
Tujui kutaendelea aje kutoka hapo.
The University Academic Staff Union has vowed to press on with its nationwide strike in public universities. This comes even as vice chancellors threaten to withhold lecturers' October salaries. Speaking at a press briefing on Wednesday, WASO officials, joined by the Kenya Universities Staff Union, said the strike will only end once the government settles 7.9 billion Kenya shillings owed under the 2017 to 2021 collective bargaining agreement.
Wasimamizi wa vyuo vikuu, wacheni vitisho. Kama mnataka maongezi au majadiliano, tupo. Jongeeni mbele. Ketini kwenye meza, tuangaliani macho kwa macho. Alafu tuzemezane. Lakini kutuambia na kututisha na kufanya nini hayatasaidia hayo yote, bali mgomo. Swala nzima la mgomo ni kwa sababu sheria au mahakama ilipitisha kwamba hawa wafanyikazi walipwe fedha zao. Tusidai. Walipeni fedha zao, mgomo utaisha.
The tourism industry has recorded one of the strongest performances in over a decade, according to the Ministry of Tourism. Tourism Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano told senators that international arrivals grew by 14.6% from 2.08 million in 2023 to 2.4 million in 2024. Earnings also jumped from 377 billion shillings to 452 billion shillings over the same period. She added that domestic tourism contributed significantly, with bed nights rising by 12% to 5.7 million Kenya shillings.
The current status of tourism sector in Kenya and how recent trends in tourist arrivals compare between domestic and international visitors. The parameters highlighted below demonstrate a good performance of the sector in 2024 as compared with 2023 figures. In terms of international arrivals, Honorable Speaker, Kenya welcomed approximately 2.4 million international tourists in 2024.
Afghans have taken to the streets to rejoice in the restoration of internet and telecom services after the Taliban government shut them down, provoking widespread condemnation. Local media reports said communications were resuming, while Internet Monitor NetBlocks said network data showed a partial restoration of connectivity. The 48-hour blackout disrupted businesses, flights, and emergency services. The Taliban government has not given an official explanation for the shutdown. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio Generation. Radio Generation assumes no responsibility or liability for the interviewee's views. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Good morning and welcome back. This is Radio Generation. The time right now is 13 minutes past 9 o'clock, 88.8 FM in Nairobi, 90.7 FM in Mombasa. Na kama kawaida, we are internationally recognized across all social media spaces and on rgk.co.ke. The conversation in this particular hour, as we say in Kipindi cha Lala Salama, is the state of the nation from a youth perspective. And with us to have this conversation is none other than Kariuki Gunjiri. He is the national youth leader at the UDA Youth Congress. Kariuki, karibu nikuite Karisa. I used to have a friend of mine alikuwa tunaitana alikuwa anaitwa Kariuki, so nilikuwa namuita Karisa.
Actually it's the same.
Yeah,
it's a short form of my name.
Yeah, sure. So Kariuki, a very good morning and welcome to Radio Generation once again.
Thank you so much.
Yes. When we talk about, the state of the nation from a youth perspective, I feel like that is a very broad way to look at things. So I'd like to narrow it down. Yes, we know what has been happening, or rather what happened to the country from June last year. Of course, sometime mid this year, we had a little bit of kuja nipe nikupe maandamano situation. Do you think that what the youth at that point wanted or were agitating for, they will get on their way to get in, or it is an exercise in futility, or we should refocus and start looking at things differently?
Well, I think, and I have always held this view, that the youth really missed a very fantastic opportunity.
Really?
They had an opportunity to bring to the fore what I would say would be a historic shift in how public policy and affairs that affect our country are addressed.
Right.
And I say this having in mind that we made a lot of efforts to try and have a constructive dialogue. And at the time, I remember saying that we must have a clear distinction between constructive criticism,
yes,
and disruptive defiance. What we saw was a youth group, I would call it a rebel without a cause. And at some point, we lost a golden opportunity to discuss the affairs of this country at a level that would have changed everything. They say that an opportunity only comes once, and if you don't utilize it, life rarely gives a second chance.
Right.
It's been a year now, and the momentum that we saw then was building up to something that brought a national psyche and brought a lot of reflection of where we were as a country. It's been now overtaken by time, and it seems like the shifting political alliances are giving us a new reality, which is mean that we might not experience
that opportunity again,
the opportunity we had. But now, you asked me whether it is an exercise in futility. This is what I believe, that while young people in the country have become more awakened and are actually participating more in the affairs of their country, there is still a lot to do in political education to sensitize them on how to utilize their potential and how to make it meaningful, so that in the process we have something productive being birthed in that whole scenario.
Okay.
While we seek to educate them, we also ask them to be patriotic enough to seek change, but at the back of their mind, while calling for that change, we ask them to have in mind that it is not possible to build a democracy like ours in a constant rage. We must have an end to what we want to achieve every time we agitate for something. Now, as a party, we are now in the process of engagement with the young people. And since then, we have really tried. Remember, we had engagements in universities. We visited all regions across the country to listen and understand.
When we say we, of course, I know you mean the UDA party.
Yes.
But how exactly did you approach these universities?
Our approach was simple. Because if you don't get to listen to the root of the problem, why did you guys go to the streets? So we first wanted to listen to them as a leadership.
So when I ask, what I'm asking specifically is, how did you have kamukunjis in the universities?
All right.
Were they public lectures? How did you engage
so
them?
We had town halls where we could go and come together with these young people in a bipartisan mindset sort of arrangement, without having to look who is a member of UD and who is not. Engaging.
You were just engaging young
the
Kenyans.
University young Kenyans. And there's a lot that we got from those forums. And I think since then, you have seen that the conversation online, even if it's not really settled in our favor 100%,
right,
I would say if I arrange it, that time could have been that we were not doing so well. But we have really improved in terms of engagement and the feedback that we've gotten from these young people as pertaining to how they welcomed this conversation. And I think that's a step towards the right direction.
Why do you think that majority of those opinions online are not in your favor?
Like I have said, it has shifted. Then I would have said, if you call me here, I would have said that we are doing so bad in terms of perception. But our urge and reaching out to the young people and listen to them and having conversations has really worked for us. And our party and our government has become more of a listening body than it were then. We've learned so many lessons, and part of it is to engage in constructive dialogue, which means we don't impose on the young people what we want. We first listen to them, and we get to the center and have an understanding in the way forward.
And that's a good it's a good way of looking at things. Now, we were actually having a conversation here with Nambale MP yesterday, and our conversation, something that came out of that conversation is that perhaps there's a possibility that young people, and what I'm about to say is in regards to the noise that was made from last year June up until Sabasaba mwaka huu. It's like that was just a moment of a light bulb moment, but after that it's like that bulb will be dimmed towards the general election. And he put out a very good example, and for me it's actually a point of thought and research, perhaps, that how the youths in the urban areas think and operate is not the same way youths in the rural areas do the same. Now, you've said that you've been around the country to the universities and to probably other colleges as well, and you've done town halls. Do you think that the urban youth and the rural youth have a different mindset?
I answer that question actually by telling you that soon we shall be announcing another program that is meant to address the challenges of youth, not necessarily the ones I would say in the intellectual realm of school-going young people.
The academics.
But, we'll go down to the grassroots. And soon I will be making that announcement. Perhaps I would maybe give you an account of what we want to do. But the intention is actually to also reach out to every corner of this country. And there are so many young people who are at the bottom and who seek to be part of the process. And last time when I was here, I told you about a project that we started in the campaign period where we signed a National Youth Charter. That National Youth Charter was supposed to address many of the challenges that the young people at the grassroots face. And if you recall, His Excellency the President announced a program that is meant to give direct transfer of cash to young people who will start businesses at the ward level. Actually, in each ward, 70 people, which comprises majority of young people and women. That project will award each one of them 50,000 shillings. And
each young person or groups?
The 70 that whether it's an enterprise will be awarded 50,000, which is meant to address what we had forethought in the youth manifesto. Again, the conversation that is ongoing right now is about how young people get jobs. For the first time, the president's legacy is spread across the country. For the first time, Kenya is like a construction company. If you went to Ethiopia 4 years ago, and I was there in I think 2019, 2020 there, you find a nation that is actually in construction. They had a vision of rebuilding their country to make Addis Ababa a good-looking city. Today, if You go to Ethiopia, you actually think that you are in Dubai. And the president's vision has been anchored on a vision that is long term. And an example is the stadiums that have been coming up. Actually, 2 days ago,
the stadium here in Kenya?
Yes.
Okay.
The stadiums. An example of the one in Kitui that will host the next celebrations, national celebrations, is an example of the deliberate effort by the government to ensure that not just sports, young people being engaged in talent, but he also creates opportunities, because the construction industry is a very big and wide industry that offers jobs to many people. We have markets that are ongoing. My friend, if you get a chance to go to an area like in Mount Kenya, go to a place called Embu, see the fantastic, huge market that is being constructed there. Go to Machakos, go to Kisumu, go to every corner of this country. Construction is literally going on. Housing project was a project that many doubted. It was in the previous government's manifesto, but as young people, we see it as a transformative project that is employing marketers, people who are actually selling those houses. It's employing other professionals that work in the construction industry. The engagements that we are having is really to get feedback, and in the next few weeks, like I've told you, I will be talking to you to tell you that so far this is where we are in terms of development, and the policies that have been implemented have gone thus far. We were talking about Ruto at 3.
Yes.
And many people were asking, so this Ruto at 3, what have you been able to do? We told them, look at the situation that the president found this country. It was a time to pay debts that had matured. He came in and we did not default. So as young people, we are not just talking about hope for a better tomorrow. And the promises that were made are not just a pipe dream. They are being actively pursued. Yes.
When you talk about debts, fine, the government is paying the debts, but also the government is borrowing more debts.
I think it's, as a citizen of this country, not just as a young leader, I think as a citizen of this country, it's a sad state of affairs to be in Kenya at this time, because I guess circumstances have placed us in a position where our economy has to be jump-started every time. Every budget that is read each year cannot come without an obligation to borrow money to either repair debt that was taken or to fund infrastructure projects.
Right.
I guess it's a situation that we really can't do so much about, because those that came before us are the ones who, in their ambitions, their wisdom or lack of it, took these debts, and we found ourselves in a situation where this one is borrowed, this one is paid, the next, it's like a recurring cycle. And I don't think any one person can be able to solve this problem holistically. But it will take some time. The best that we can do is to renegotiate the terms of these loans so that they are favorable to our country and give us an opportunity to address them in the long term. But that situation cannot be addressed. I don't think any president can do it in one term, or even it will take a bit of time.
It will take a while.
Yes.
Why do you say it is a sad period? Why? What is sad about it?
Because I, as a young person, and maybe somebody who has ambitions to, if God gets us there, to be president of this country, I would find myself in a situation whereby I would be dealing with debts to, repay debts.
Why is that sad?
Because I look at some of the ambitions that those who have come before us had, and the gains that we get out of the project that they went into. And even if I'm not so experienced in that sector, I can see it's a zero-sum game.
Let me change my question and ask it differently.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
In the eyes of very many people in this country, and it is said that what I'm about to say is a view held by very many young people, that this government has failed in everything. It is not my view, because it is actually not possible for a government to fail in everything, even if they wanted to. It honestly is not possible.
Yes.
You happen to be a youth leader in a party that it is said is not popular among young people. Okay? Now, it is said, would you say that because of the issues that arise because of this situation, that you are in a good position to learn very many things that ordinarily you would not learn or understand if you are not in this position?
This is what I will say. I do not agree when you say that we are the essence of popularity.
I said perception.
Yes.
And I said it is not my view.
Yes.
There are those who hold that view.
Yes.
My question is not around the popularity or unpopularity.
Okay.
My question is, do you find yourself in a position where you are learning a great deal because of where you are at the moment?
Correct.
That is actually my question.
Yes. And I'll just be honest with you. I have reviewed some of the infrastructure projects that have been taken before.
Yes.
And that's why I was driving my point and telling you that if I was in the position of those who made those decisions, I would have thought otherwise. There are projects that have been undertaken in this country that, if you ask me, and in my view, Kenyans are really paying dearly for it. And yet the gains that we get out of these projects is not something that we can say is improving, is making the situation better. I have an opportunity to learn and understand that while a country can grow out of people being overly ambitious and sometimes even doing excessive borrowing and everything, I also have understood in this whole process that it is important to live within our means.
Okay. If you look at recently, our president went to New York for the UNGA conference.
Yes.
Now, many people do not know why and how it is the UN came into being.
Yeah.
It followed a very serious war in which very many millions of people died.
Yeah.
So people realized and said, hey, we can't have this happening again. Let's form an understanding and let countries of the world. You're talking about 1945. Most of us were not supposedly independent from the colonialists.
Yes, yes.
But when we became independent, we joined.
Yes.
The discussion now is not about joining.
Yes.
The discussion is about the voice we should have.
In
okay?
Yes.
And that shows that the problems that occurred that got the UN formed has enabled us to meet with other countries and other leaders and to have a place where everybody can come and talk. In the absence of that war, I doubt very much if there would have been a need for the UN. I doubt it. The multi-party that we have in this country and the conversations around it, it did not come about because people sat down, drank some tea, ate some mandazi and said, let's have multi-party. That's not how it worked. Those who preferred the single party system wanted it to stay that way. And there was agitation. As a result of it, we got a new constitution. And as a result of it, we are now grappling with the contents of the constitution because it is what is creating what we call problems. One, this freedom that people have. For most people who favor the previous way of thinking, freedom should be curtailed or guided. Hapana ongea namna hiyo. So it is my opinion. Yes, your opinion should be this way. And said, then it's not my opinion, it is yours. You are at a point, this government is at a very interesting point. Indeed, all those problems you say, they inherited For sure they did. Every government will inherit something and some baggage that the government before them left for them. But because of those problems, this government is having to deal with things that other previous governments did not have to deal with. That's where the learning process takes place. And that's where you have now a learning curve. Because indeed it is true. There are countries that have defaulted on the loans that they have. They have. We haven't. The borrowing, if we have a shortfall and our revenue cannot meet whatever we want to do, we will borrow. And just so that Kenyans understand, we are not the only people who owe money. All these so-called developed countries owe money. Take your pick. Just take your pick. And take your pick, they owe. Okay? If it's a European country, they may owe the European bank or whatever it is called, but they owe. Have European countries defaulted on their loans? Yes, we have countries that have defaulted. Okay? This isn't new. But that's not something for us to be happy about. I'm simply saying that it is noteworthy when a leadership of a country actually steers the country away from default. It is not a small thing. But the learning that comes as a result of having to juggle, because when in such a situation, you are going to do some very serious juggling. Very. Because on the one hand, there are payments that are due, and those don't joke. You have to have money aside, because it's not as though they come and say, nani, ile check iko wapi? Apana. It's in the system. On due date, that money goes.
Yes.
You have obligations to meet. And that is what forms the discussion we hear every day. The government isn't doing this. Obligations.
Yes.
The government isn't doing this. This is what I'm saying. Then I will ask you the question. There is no better time to learn than when you have problems such as the ones we have. And there is no better time for us to be on a platform of growth than now. Because we have no choice but to feel the pain of decisions that have been made on our behalf. We have no choice but to confront the difficulties. There's no choice. And if you move out of this country, you may find different problems elsewhere. How to cope. And this is why I love the idea of being a Kenyan. Kenyans can adjust and they can maneuver. Political leaders take advantage of it, but they can. They look at a situation and figure, how do we deal with this? So, my question to you, given the abundance of lessons that one can learn from the time that we have, as a youth leader, when you're talking to people who, of your ilk, who are young, what sort of country would you like to see, and what are the things you think need to be done to get to that country that you need?
As of course, by there, like your example on the UN and the multi-party democracy that you've talked about, a painful process that bars some of the things that we today are privileged to have. I like that example. As a young person and as a young leader in the country, I guess, and many of my generation have understood the challenges that we are in as a country. And in our conversations and engaging most of them, they actually prioritize the basic things that the citizens would get from a government. The government has an obligation to, out of the taxes that it collects from Kenyans, to provide certain fundamental public goods and services, at least the basic ones. Have a good education system that is working, and I can explain what the government is doing to make sure that we have that education. There are challenges in which every day we keep on trying to ask for an improvement and giving ideas on how they can be done better. The government is really doing a lot in that sector. Number two is a problem that faces this country of youth unemployment. And youth unemployment is something that when we were building that youth manifesto, I was actually very and personally passionate about. And some of the reforms that we were seeking were to make it easy for people not to just graduate out of university, colleges and all these other institutions, and wait for the day that they will get an email for an interview. We said there are so many opportunities in this era of technology that are available online that young people can pursue and employ themselves. So we really tried to think hard of some of the interventions that the government can make to make it easy for the young people to employ themselves, do those online jobs. And part of the intervention was to have ICT hubs. We used to call it, and still call it, the digital superhighway, to have access to the internet in almost every corner of this country. By the way, city and movie, today, the picture we were taking outside there with the deputy government spokesman, the guy who was taking it using his phone, that mobile phone can be a source of employment. There are people who are actually making content and are selling it online. As an example, yesterday, the head of special projects, Dennis Itumbi, was meeting with TikTokers, creators. That's a huge platform that can and will employ so many young people, thousands of them. And they get it as a real employment avenue. Number 3, we also discussed not just employment, we discussed businesses to decriminalize enterprise. You know, a young person starts something, and instead of being tapped and being helped to improve on it, the young person is seen as somebody who is trying to challenge status quo and bring about change in the conservative way of doing things, interest and everything. We really wanted to pursue an avenue where every hustle matters. We also talked about, you know, the security of the people of Kenya, young people, those who are in the northern part of Kenya, the radicalization that has been a problem, young people being brought in organizations that wanasema kwa Kiswahili wa itikadi kali. We wanted to have a united front of young people with one common destiny and always having an obligation of being patriotic to change their country. We also discussed and said that if the Kenya Kwanza administration gets this government, we also want to make sure that young people can also be able to get opportunities in government internship programs, and they get that training which will help them grow in their careers and being able to sharpen them, proceed with life after school. In our discussions and the state of the nation today in the youth perspective, I would like to say that we have come from afar. It was challenging in the last regime to have a specific angle in terms of public policy that addresses the strengths of these young people. For the first time in the country, the young people of Kenya are engaging in a debate on tax. You know, you've never seen that. It's been made possible by the government bringing an opportunity in terms of debate, in terms of democratic values.
Did the government really give us
today
opportunity?
Let me tell you, you
to
see
debate?
Yes, you see these dialogues that I'm talking about. For the first time in Kenya, I've been around these youth circles for
kuona nayo tumeona, hata mimi nimeona mara ya kwanza, but when we, because what I'm disagreeing with is the fact that it's the government that has given us that opportunity.
Do you know what I mean by that? The government of Kenya, comparing with other governments, let's look at our neighbors. You have Tanzania, you have Uganda, Rwanda and everything. We interact with those people. And I remember having a conversation last year at the Youth Connect Summit in Rwanda. And I was having conversations with young people from across East Africa. And they were asking me, so how do you people in your country, how does your government allow young people to express themselves? How does your president go on Twitter for 1 hour and a half and allow himself to be criticized by young people. And I told them that Kenya is unique. We are Kenya, and these democratic values and principles that everybody keeps on talking about, if you want to benchmark, go to Kenya. If you want to go to a very vibrant and informed populace, go to the young people of Kenya. They asked me, what about, somebody actually even told me, in our country, if that conversation would have cropped up, the internet would have been shut down. But here, and they were even warning me, if you visit our country, please don't talk about our president. I know maybe you have some personal views on how he does his
Keep
things,
it to yourself.
but please, when you come here, keep it to yourself. I asked him, okay, your president is good. He's doing a lot. He's changed a lot. But do you have room for criticism on some things? He told me, if you dare do that, things are going to be bad on your side.
Utaona siku mrefu.
And that's why I say that youth of Kenya find themselves at a very unique point in history where they have an opportunity to create a historic moment that generations that will come after us will enjoy from. But it's like they are not seeing it. They are wasting a very good chance,
How then, let me ask you, how then would they use it in the most useful way? How would they utilize it to ensure that they get the maximum benefits out of it?
I'll keep saying this. I am of the opinion that if the youth of Kenya, first of all, agree to be organized, have an objective, and have a clear vision on what they want to change in our governance system and in the way things are done, it is actually possible for it to happen. However, the challenge that you've had for this long time in the discussions is political interference. Any moment that the young people want to have a conversation and bring their ideas to the table, I don't know what happens in between, that we lose that opportunity, and it becomes, and I give an example of the demonstrations, it morphed from we are discussing taxes, we are discussing the finance bill, to Ruto must go, and that is where we get it wrong. If it could have remained as a discussion on policy, tax, finance bill, I think we'll have really gotten the best gist out of everything.
But you see, you are now bordering and teetering on totalitarianism. When people morph their discussion in the direction that they want, or it goes contrary to a script that you would prefer, that is not a negative thing.
Let me ask you, so why would young people waste their time doing demonstrations that are geared towards bringing reforms in our tax system, and then in between lose direction and start following a political script, which means that you have to now be brainwashed into something else that is not what, or rather the cause that you at the beginning thought you are fighting for. And when it takes a political direction, now it becomes politics. It moves away from
did the
policy
youth not
debates.
realize that the moment you are protesting, you are on a political turf? The moment you are in a country and you are agitating for change, you do know you've gone political.
Now, here is the difference. The young people, majorly those ones that we saw on the streets, the conversation was hijacked. And I say this because I was following each and every moment. It was hijacked in this manner. It began as a very nice debate on policy, on tax, on what we can do, what we don't want, and what we want. And then, I don't know who kind of spinned the whole thing, and it became a sort of an activism campaign, changed now into a political animal that was threatening to overthrow a democratically installed government.
Just put a full
It
stop
is
on
not
that
possible.
point.
It cannot happen, and we cannot move like that.
Yeah, no, I have a question specifically
Yes.
on that statement, because the president himself, President William Ruto, came out and said that the peaceful protest was hijacked. His own words.
Yes.
Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but he said it.
Yes.
The president has also told us most recently that he consumes raw intelligence and he knows things about, and it is because the position that he holds, he's privileged to that kind of information. So the president knows who hijacked, the people hijacked, whether it's an individual, a group of people. He must know whether they are domestic or foreign. He must know. It's been a year since. We are not getting that information. And the young people, you've said it very well, ilianza vizuri sana. We were talking about policy. People were saying finance bill, reject finance bill, full stop. Then ghafla bin vu, punde si punde, it became Ruto must go. And then it moved to very many other things after that. We can't even keep track of them, because I'm sure if we go back and look at the several agendas, there are quite a number. So at what point, and he knows that it was hijacked. And Karaoke, you being a youth leader in the United Democratic Alliance, I am certain, I'm sure you have conversations with the president, even if it's once every blue moon. Point is, you have them. At what point then do we get the conversation back to actually moving the country forward?
Now, the president is very determined to change this country, and there's something that many people don't know about President William Ruto.
Which is what?
That in the previous administrations, we've had leaders, yes, people who have an experience in public service. But President William Ruto is unique in this way. I describe him as a philosopher king in our current state of politics. He's a person who, if you get a chance to read his mind, sit down with him, have a conversation, has a deep analysis of issues and a breadth of perspective on where he wants to take this country. There are people who are basically elected to be president just because of the politics of the day. But this one is a leader, I would say, has both knowledge and wisdom and understands what exactly needs to be done. The unique place he finds himself in this point in time is as a result of certain factors. One of them being the competing realities of him concentrating on delivering for Kenyans, and at the same time concentrating on the noise that goes outside with the activism, which is as a result of our democratic values and the openness that our society has. He chooses to focus on delivering, and that's why, and I look at him sometimes, and there was a time when most of us were like, okay, there's a lot of heavy criticism on these housing projects, and some of us really even were asking, so what are these people saying about it? And the president, I remember one day, stood in a church in Machakos, and he told people when the housing issue was at its start that I am focused and there is no way I am going back on this one. He said, I will not allow those who doubt my capacity to deliver this to distract me. Today, I look at him and I remember those words. The changes that we have seen in this country in terms of the market and the housing project now reflect his passion and his deep analysis of the situation then, something that most of us could not actually see.
There are those of us who would say that's his job. See, he asked for a job.
Yes.
What you've described.
Yes.
Hiyo ndio kazi. Now, details of how you're supposed to do it, it is service. But, just so that you get a perspective, in this country, with this population of these people we call Kenyans, they're a strange lot. You are popular for a very short period. Sincerely. You can even, Kibaki is reported to have won with the largest majority we've ever seen.
2002.
2 years in the presidency.
He lost a referendum.
Clean. Clean.
Yeah.
He became unpopular. People are saying, Moi should not have left. Moi should just have stayed. Oh yes.
But pia sisi kama Wakenya tulikuwa na shida ya wakati.
No, hakuna siku hatuna shida.
Na hakukuwa na social media.
There is no time hatuna shida. Okay?
Yeah.
And remember, Kibaki was president with the old constitution. He had more power than Uhuru had.
Yes.
Nobody speaks about Uhuru having to deal with something no other president in the history of this country has had
a
to
new
deal.
thing.
This new constitution was an utter and absolute nightmare.
Yes.
By the time the president is asking, okay, you guys, what do you want me to do? They essentially is telling you there are things I can't do even if I want because there's a constitution.
So people are still in that hangover.
We still are, not where.
We are still in the hangover.
We're still there.
Yes.
But the hangover that concerns me is this knack for negativity that we have.
Yeah.
We have a problem, indeed we do. There are issues that need to be resolved. That is why we elect people to help us resolve them. Do we have a trust deficit with the political leadership? We do.
Yes.
But how do we best sort out these issues? Because they're Kenyan problems. And these leaders whom we elect. They don't elect themselves. They are Kenyan leaders whom we've elected. How do we also discuss issues in a balanced way? Because in this country, I've heard people saying the housing project doesn't exist. But those houses exist. I mean, even if you don't like the president, the houses exist.
Yes.
Or why they're built in the rural areas. There are those who are determined they will find something negative to say. So you must understand, it doesn't matter.
And
they will criticize.
That's why I made the point. And you are right. I made the point and said that there is a lot of criticism that comes with the job. This whole issue of, I think, maandamano and everything, and that perception going deep down into the government.
Yes.
And I don't know, I might be wrong.
Usiende mbali. Karaoke, there are people within the government who give fodder for criticism because of what they do, what they say. They allow for that criticism, and then that criticism is levied on everybody who is in government.
Yeah, I wanted to give you an example. There's a mzee we used to work with. I worked with in a lot of scenarios. The former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua. I got a privilege that time to work with him in the Kiambaa by-election. We worked very closely, and even shifting into government.
Yes.
The impeachment process of Rigathi, I would say, was a catalyst to some of the problems that we're having, and majorly because there are people who are sympathetic with him, and especially those who come from my
community.
Region. They didn't understand in detail why Rigathi was being removed. And I have always, anytime I go to even those vernacular stations, I always tell them that I didn't have any personal relationship with Rigathi.
Right.
But I got an opportunity to be around him for some time. And I saw the kind of a person he was and how he used to treat even people
around him,
have supported him. And I told those people, I told my people that please, we cannot be mad. All of us, including his member of parliament, his senator, his women representative, neighbors who are MPs, all of us could not have been wrong to be unable to work with Rigathi. And you know, they didn't understand. They were confused. They thought that it was malice. They thought that we were against, even as young people. You know, Rigathi used to hate us. A group of us.
Hate is a very strong word.
Yes, he actually used to hate us because he thought, listen, he thought that, and in this case, I can give you examples because some of them are my friends.
Because we have a few seconds to the end
people
of the
like the likes of Dennis Itumbi,
right?
Dindi, us, me as Karaoke. Rigathi never used to like us because he had, or in his mind, he had some fertile imagination that there is a generational change that is coming, and it's coming
actually there is
to challenge. It's coming to challenge him and dislodge him as the kingpin of Mount Kenya, which was preoccupied in his mind.
Karaoke.
Now, for us,
as you leave, I want you to think: was he actually wrong? Was he actually wrong?
City is looking for a yes or no.
No, yes.
No, let me in 1 second give it context. Rigathi thought that we were against him because we wanted to install a young person as the next kingpin. Now, this is the difference. His impeachment and him going out was not related to that. It was related to him being a difficult person to work with, and we never wanted him in our team.
Our time is up, but let me tell you one thing.
Yes.
You can't install a kingpin. People decide on who their kingpin is.
But he's trying to force it on the people of Mount Kenya, and I can tell you, and I have told him, even on media station, that he's going to fail terribly if he thinks that he can use that strength that he thought he had to install himself as kingpin of Mount Kenya. This Uhuru's comeback in this Mount Kenya politics will shape a different perspective and how people see it. And I can tell you from this table here, and you've seen it, our people have now begun being tired of Rigathi because of the things that he's saying. They are used to his rhetoric. And going into 2027, because I am really praying hard and praying hard that there will never be an opportunity where he vies. Because if we were to have Rigathi as president, and this is my own opinion, we would be installing a dictator.
Karaoke, Gunjiri, thank you so much for coming. Unfortunately, like I've told you, this is the time we had. However, come back again. Kama kawaida, our doors are very much open, and let's continue with this conversation.
Asante sana, nimeshukuru.
Yes.
Can I end it with this?
Yes.
There is a quote by Antonio Guterres in Unga juzi. He said that no matter the obstacle, no matter the difficulty, no matter the challenge, no matter the hour, we shall overcome every setback as UDA and as Ruto's administration.
All right. Thank you so much, Karaoke. This is where we come to a close. City, sema kwaheri bana.
Kwaheri.
All right. See you tomorrow, folks. Bright and early.